I'd like to welcome everybody out to the February the 13th special called meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming out today. Unfortunately, Councilman Braun couldn't be here today because of the work schedule or our meeting. We had a clerical error when it came out Thursday, and due to the state statutes, we had to change everything around, so that's the reason we're here this morning, but thank you all again for coming out. Conflict of interest. Does any member of council have a conflict of interest in regards to any item on the agenda, or please at this time?
No, sir.
No.
No.
All right, moving on. Approval of draft agenda. Does any member of council have anything that needs to be changed? If not, do I have a motion to approve this draft agenda?
I'll motion to approve the draft agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, getting on to new business. First up, McGill Task Order 36A, Majestic Oaks Park Design. Council, would y'all like to see? I think, you want to come up? I think they may have some questions for you, and we'll go from there. Thank you all.
Good
Morning.
Good morning.
Dubinsky with McGill Associates, here to address any questions on our task order amendment.
I think Alex first off, just wanting to understand the scope of this.
Sure.
It's got in here, and we just saw this yesterday, just to let you know. I think it came out Wednesday, but I saw it yesterday. Elevated bathroom structure, playground area, and emergency services boat lift. And everything that had already been presented on the Majestic Oak Park, the drawings, everything like that, didn't have that information in anything. So didn't know background on
Sure.
this.
Sure.
To let everyone know.
Sure, we can go through all three items. The first item, the emergency boat lift. There was a request by your emergency services folks to actually construct a boat lift at this location, which makes things a lot easier for them. I can't speak to exactly how it would work as far as answering emergencies, but it was a request from your emergency services group to construct a boat lift with this project. So the task order involved two things: figuring out where the best position was to put the boat lift, and then number two, actually the design of the boat lift itself. So that was the first item. That was not in the original project. It came through afterwards. The second item, dealing with the raised restroom, no, the playground. Let's go to the playground. Again, the playground was not in the original plan. Our previous administration chose to get a playground, figure out where would be the best fit for it and what type of playground would it be. So this task order addresses both of those items. We met with the playground supplier, went through a bunch of iterations as to the features on the playground, and then what we established where is the best position on the park for it. And then this actual task order is for the design specifications and bidding information that's needed to construct the playground.
And
That
what was the
not in-
time frame on that? On when did that start, this playground discussion?
Oh my, last couple months. I don't have exact dates, obviously, but I know I've met previously with the group. With
Mr. Lipinski, is that right,
yes,
Lipinski?
Yeah.
The reason why Mrs. Batchelor's asking is the maps that we have, it's a drawing by your firm.
Correct.
And it's got green, which meant that was in the original proposal.
Mhm.
Then we have orange, and the legend says that that's future possible phases.
Correct.
We don't have a map to show where this is, the bathroom, the raised.
We have. You did. Can we get it up on? Oh, we get it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Let me just give you guys.
Pulling something up now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Let's back up to the boat lift. In the center of the drawing towards the bottom, you'll see it says a 15 by 20 boat lift area off of the walkway. We looked at a couple locations to the east, which is to your left. I'm sorry, west, which is to your left on the drawing. Positioned it a couple different spots. This ended up being the best spot for access because there's also going to be a fire suppression system on the boardwalk at that location as well. So that is the first item, the boat lift, which everybody finally agreed that was the best location for it. And that was an afterthought from the original contract. So this task order addresses the design of all that.
You know, when you go off of Kobe and you turn into that property, you go toward the water, it appears, and I'm not an expert, but it appears that there's wetlands there.
Yes, you can see on here is dotted. It says the dotted area looks like it's a bunch of trees, but
Yes, sir.
there's a wetland boundary shown on there. We've identified all the wetlands on site. You are correct.
Do we do any, it's there, we cannot build anything
Not
around
in
that?
the wetland area.
Right, within a certain
Correct. Yes, it's like 30 feet away
30 feet away from
Yeah.
the whole
from
area.
the whole area. Yes. So that's the boat lift, the first item on the task order. Second item, the playground, the upper right. You can see it up at the we'll call it just east of the restroom building. You see the location of the playground. And again, we met with the playground supplier. They went through a bunch of different iterations of the features on the playground. I can actually get that for y'all if you want it.
I think for insurance purposes, we should know what the equipment is, because that will be an insurance issue with playground material.
Yeah.
What it is, what the risk is
Sure.
for that. And that'll also be a budget
Yeah, I'll
concern
provide
that we'll
to
have.
Ken. Right, that's a Ken. Now, the
And these
playground.
also, Alex, are right, I mean, there's homes right there abutting this, basically.
Mhm. Yeah,
That looked at it
at this
all.
point, it was, I mean, this, like I said, this is where the previous folks felt that it was best to lay it out.
When you say the previous folks, what folks are you
Lisa,
talking?
the administrator, previous administrator.
Okay.
Lisa, that group, yes.
The administration decided this.
Yes,
Okay.
Did that ever go to the previous council at
I-
all?
don't know, to be honest.
Mike, did
I
it?
just worked right through
They
Lisa.
will present it to the council. This particular drawing, excluding the 3 items he's talking about now.
In a meeting or just sent to them?
No, it was in a meeting, because the only time we could meet on this stuff is in an open session like here.
I've gone to all the meetings and I don't remember this. Could it have been the 2 by 2 by 2 that you all used to do?
No, I don't think it was a 2 by 2 by 2, because there was a lot of up and back between many
I think
council people.
it was spoken to in broad range, but no formal plan.
Specificity.
Okay.
Just said we're gonna see
Yeah,
about
and-
this, and
yeah.
this. But getting back, just even the thing about the playground, you know, as far as the equipment there, anybody that lives on Island knows. I mean, we're gonna have to be really careful if this is what the council goes forward
Sure.
with and this part goes to this. Any of the equipment that's used there, the longevity of it, how long it's gonna be before it starts rusting out. I mean, and then if it gets to that point, then that creates a safety hazard for our kids and stuff that use it. So that's another thing that needs to be considered on that. So any kind of details needs to be provided.
To Ken,
Okay,
Yeah.
to you, and then
That'd
if
be
you want
great.
us to come back.
because we haven't seen it and it's not been posted online to the website that we're aware of or anything out there, so.
Like I said, we went through a couple different iterations and picking
Okay.
the different parts and pieces, and this is what they ended up with.
Okay,
The third item is the restroom building. You can see where that's at on the plan. This is a precast concrete building, comes in one unit. And the precast supplier of the building designs them as if they're sitting on the ground. They don't do any other kind of foundation designs other than sitting it on the ground. In the district where we're at, we know everything has to be elevated. So our task order amendment, once we found that out, is to build up on piles. You have ramps, you have stairs, you have everything associated with ADA. So that is what, it sits up about 8 or 10 feet. So that's what this task order addresses, is the structural design of the foundations for the restroom, as well as the structural designs for the boat access.
Mr. Lipinski, how close are those that restroom platform, it's raised, how close is that to the homes that abut that property?
You're probably.
You got a legend down here, but you're the expert
Yeah,
to decipher that. Could you tell us how many roughly
Yeah,
feet?
well, you figure the walkway itself that we're showing is 8 feet wide, so I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 30, maybe 30 or 40 feet just by trying to get.
So in this room where I'm sitting, how far back is 30 feet from where I'm sitting?
You're probably a little further than the wall, probably, just beyond the
So
wall.
we're going to have a restroom here, and a little farther than the wall, there's going to be a row of houses.
You have the walkway, and then you have the houses in there. Yeah.
The bathroom that you're constructing, is it like a portable?
No, it's a
pretty-
fully,
it's a
fully
true-
functional,
Okay.
restroom that'll be, like I said, it's a concrete building. It comes in and just gets set right on the frame.
It's just
And all the
raised.
plumbing, yeah, it's raised up. I think it's like almost 8 or 10 feet up. And all the plumbing and electrical and everything is prepped to actually hook up and go.
And Alex, the previous plan, this plan that was done, what was the restroom configuration for it? Because this, I mean, the height restriction of elevating it has a new development.
Yeah, I can't actually answer that. I can find out because I wasn't involved in the very early stages of the planning
Because to me, that should have been planned in this
in
phase.
that phase.
Would you agree?
Yeah. If it was ultimately intended to be, it's actually an alternate bid. It's not part of the base bid. You don't have to build a restroom if you don't want to. It's not a requirement.
The emergency boat lift, is that required? Is that something that, what is the purpose of that? Is it for speed to get over there if we were to have an emergency? I mean, it says emergency.
Right. In my conversations with the fire chief, because when I heard about the boat ramp, I had some questions as well. And it's to give them quicker access should they need to get into some of the canals. My question to that was, is it quicker to respond to the island, drive down canal to Cobia, to the boat, launch the boat, get to the canal, versus just launching the boat in the ICW? And it's probably about a wash. So the fire chief did not seem that, and I don't want to speak for him, but that this was a deal breaker. So I don't know that it has that great of a benefit as far as speeding up response time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Ken, would you say this is one of those things that it was, and I hate Richard's not in here, but would you say that's something that was a wish, not a need? Is that how you would, because to me, that's a huge expense. And anybody that has a boat lift, the maintenance on it, to barely be used, is a lot.
I think that summarizes it well. And if the tide is not just right as well, it's still not going to be a speedy response even from the boat.
Or you're going to be in the muck.
Right.
To make sure that we understand, before us is $43,000 to go to McGill just for engineer drawings. That's not the price of the raised bathroom, the
the
playground.
actual-
That's just for you.
It's our design effort to create bid drawings, construction.
Okay.
Correct.
So this could be easily another $500,000
Or more.
right, easily. Okay.
Now with this drawing here, Alex,
Mhm.
is there a reason these drawings what we've already paid for couldn't be utilized if you had not been asked by prior administration to come up with a new plan, even though you'd already came up with a plan previously?
Those are schematic in nature. They're
Okay.
not good enough for bidding.
Okay. Okay,
Actually
okay,
build one.
okay,
So that's what our task force, that's
Okay.
what we took that and created construction plans.
okay. So let's say we were using this diagram here. What would the cost be to do this so that it could be bid out? Would you estimate?
Well, we actually have the bid plans already ready. We're almost ready, waiting on some permitting.
So we've already paid for this and we
Yeah.
can move forward with this to move the
Yeah,
park
you have
forward.
your base task order for us was to create just what you're talking
Well,
about.
that's what I thought. This had already been done and paid
Oh, yeah,
for,
they're all done.
is
Yeah.
my take.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're down to doing some geotechnical work on the site, which we started because we had debris we had to move.
Right,
And,
exactly. You were held up
Yeah,
due to that.
that
Yeah.
part of it. But other than that, the plans I would say are a good 80% complete.
So this new plan
That's the new.
that came about in the fall was
Correct.
an addition to the scope of the original
It was a
Majestic Oak.
refinement of the scope.
Okay, okay, okay. That,
And whether we approve this or not, it's not going to delay the development of the original plan that we see in green.
this plan.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
These are just extras. If you don't approve this, obviously, we wouldn't have the ramp, we wouldn't have the playground, we wouldn't have the
Right.
raised restroom, we wouldn't. I mean,
Well, and
we
those
don't-
were future phases anyway by this plan.
Yeah, they-
so
they
nothing
could be
had been
pulled out. They can be
communicated.
pulled out of the current plans.
Yeah.
To me, this is just extra that the town is going to have to pay, our taxpayers will have to pay. When you look at this, it's 4 acres, 4.25 acres, and it looks like every grain of dirt, sand has been utilized. It's going to be too congested. I recommend that this not be approved. I don't know if you all would like to table it, but I'd like to go with the original plan. And if we want to add on extras later, then we add those on later. When we have a playground, the best playground that we have in this area is the beach. Cost to maintain that, cost to have insurance on that is going to be a burden to our taxpayers. We also are not required to have this boat ramp. We know that's going to be expensive. We see that it's from our public safety officials that it's going to be a wash, so there's no benefit to have that. It's just going to congest the area even more. The restrooms, I would, if I lived there, I would not want to look out at my backyard to see a public restroom. That's got to be clean. That's going to cost us money as well. Yes, sir.
With the amount of possible people using this between the kayakers and the people walking the tracks and everything, not having a bathroom within close proximity, a public bathroom, means that they're all going to end up going all the way down to the gazebo. That is not a good idea. I mean, we need some kind of a restroom facility on these premises. Now, we need to make it raised because we can't have it. So I think that is one of the 3 items I think that we should really seriously say, you know, if worse comes worse, people are using that property for whatever reason, they're going to need, if they need a restroom, you're not going to ask them to go into the creek.
On the original plan that you looked at, did it have restrooms?
Yes, it had a restroom, but it was at flat level.
Where was that on the drawing?
I don't have it right in front of me.
It's right up against where the parking is.
So there's a restroom already there. We're just
On this
moving
plan,
it.
there's a restroom that was in a future phase.
Correct.
But you know, and there's a lot that's in the future phase, from landscaping to the walkway to the shady sails over picnic tables to the impervious paver plaza, a bocce court, some benches, some bench swings were all future. Because really phase, what I would say, the grant part of it that was requested is some parking spots, a boardwalk, a kayak canoe launch, a wildlife observation platform, and a fishing area. And there's cost associated with every bit of that in the grant information that's already out there. So I agree that I feel like the new plan that this is in this meeting, just seeing this map, we need to look through this more in more detail before anything. I'm not, based on the information I gathered yesterday regarding from our public safety, I'm not for this boat lift that we're just hearing about. I'm not necessarily for this playground where it's situated at right against these homes. The restrooms, I need a lot more information on those, what they're going to be. I would like to see what the restroom plan was with this drawings that have been communicated in detail to see what we're looking at. To me, and look at the option you are submitting with this plan, cost, all that stuff, to see what we're looking at before making a decision. what Mr. Postle said regarding the restrooms. The problem if there aren't restrooms there, some people will leave and go to a appropriate restroom. Some people will do their business in the park. They'll do it in the water. They'll do it wherever. Anyone that lives near a park or lives on the island, we see this where we live. Unfortunately, it shouldn't happen, but it's the society we live in today, I guess you could say. But I'm not for passing this today, this $43,000. I think we got to go back and look at this, and we need you to bring us as a council more detailed information, because we're just seeing this today and seeing it in the request. Yesterday is when I got my packet. It went out Wednesday afternoon to us, but that's the first I've heard or seen of it. So nothing. Yeah.
Mr. Clamer, could we ask that you work with Mr. Lipinski on having a overall presentation to council and to the public, so that we know exactly what we're getting for our money? Because I'm looking at two individuals. Myself, we've come to every council meeting for the last couple of years. We don't remember this, and I have a pretty good memory. I would like, Mr. Clamer, is that something that you would do for the council, so that we all know exactly
Absolutely.
what
And
the plan is?
I think we could try to plan for the April agenda for a presentation. This way the full council is aware of the scope of this project in various phases, and then the council can give direction on how you'd like to proceed.
One of the things I wanted to mention, and I know that we're concerned about the visual view of the restrooms from housing close by, but we have not taken into consideration the foliage and things that are being used on that particular area, and whether how they're going to, if you wish, screen that particular area from people's views from anywhere else. So if we know what that part of it is, it will at least alleviate that concern regarding views from the people's houses. So I think we have to add that into the project and say what's going to plan on there. I know there's a committee out there to look at what to put up on Majestic Oaks, and I think that, they should take a look and see what kind of bushes, trees, or whatever else they're going to use to screen that area.
Seems like the consensus of the council here is to table this matter. Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead,
Hey, Alex, in reference to the bathroom, there's no sewer line that runs out there, is it?
No, we'll be installing it. It will be, we have to actually pump it out to Cobia Street.
You'd have to pump it.
Yeah, it'll be a vacuum system. Like we
Okay.
always do. Yeah.
All right. And is that location there, what if we moved it, just out of curiosity, if you moved it to, if you see where the wetlands are in the middle, like behind the parking spaces?
Yep.
Could it go in that area too?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
flexible.
that means the distance of pumping it would be much less
Correct.
also.
Yeah, a lot shorter.
That would
Yes, sir.
reduce some cost.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to agree with as far as tabling this for right now.
The consensus. Mike, you good with
Sure.
tabling it?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
We'll
Mr.
see you again.
Lipinski.
All right, next up be amendment addendum to the MOA between Palm Cove Association and the town of Sunset Beach.
Mr. Mayor, what you have before
Go
you
ahead.
is an amendment to a previous MOA that was entered into March 4th of 2024. This allows for the town to designate a project manager at its sole discretion for supervision of the construction. It also changes the attorney, since we no longer have Mr. Richardson representing the town of Sunset Beach. This has been reviewed by our legal.
So that the public knows, all we're doing is we've identified that in the original memorandum of agreement that was signed in 2024, that it stated that the town would provide a project manager. We no longer have that capacity. So that even if we had the capacity, those fees were going to be transferred over to the Palm Cove Property Owners Association. Now what we're doing is just saying that they now will pay for who the town hires in this function, and they'll of course have input in that. And the other thing that's in here, I think, that mentions about where the dredge spoils are going to go, in the original MOA that was signed in 2024, it did not designate where they're going. We know that Majestic Oaks was purchased in 2022, and we know that that's been used as a staging area. I guess a staging area is a fancy word for a dump that we're dumping, and our council has said we no longer want that. So now the onus on where those dredge spoils are going to go will be on the Palm Cove HOA, or excuse me, Property Owners Association. And that in here we changed from our former lawyer to our current lawyers. So it's those three things. Just want to make sure the public knows that this is not additional dollars. It's to clean up the things that we looked at. And Ms. Batchelor, I know you and I have spent at least 10 hours looking on this and meeting with folks. So this was not done lightly. This was a lot of thought and a lot of reading.
I
So
think
I'd
all
like
of
to
us had
make-
opportunity to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the addendum to the memorandum of agreement with the Palm Cove Owners Association.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Next up, be our council regular meeting schedule.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, for consideration of changing the regular meeting schedules from every Monday night at 7 p.m. for the start of a regular council meeting to changing that to every Monday of the month with a starting time of 2 p.m. for the regular meetings. Understand that due to notification requirements, if the council votes to approve this, the first effective meeting would have to be April of 2026. We'd also have to amend the July 13th and September 14th meeting, as they don't fall on the first Monday of the month.
Just looking at this, and this, like I said, this just came up to us. It was a consensus of our employees about changing the time. The administrator had went to them just to ask them what they thought, and they came across with it, and this is where they came up with. I understand that. As much as I respect our employees and all, this may be something we go in, but the only problem I had with this being on today was I didn't feel like our citizens had a voice yet in it. And, you know, coming into this new council, I've heard numerous new council come in and talk about they want to be everything out in front. And I think I would hope that this council would table this to the next meeting where our people would have a chance to publicly speak, whether they're in favor of this or not. And then at that time, we consider whether we go forward with this or not. Go ahead.
I prefer, if this is going to be held to the next meeting, it should be at an evening 7 o'clock meeting where the normal people that would have the ability to get there, because people who work can't make the 2 o'clock meeting.
Well, if we tabled it
cut
to
them
then,
out.
it would be moved to then anyway. So that would be the regular March meeting, which is
Okay.
the 7 o'clock meeting.
Okay.
Rest of the council.
Well, to echo what our town administrator is saying is the consensus of the employees. I don't think the public realizes what the demand is on employees. You all start your day at 7:30. Then you go to a meeting that lasts. And let's make sure that we understand the people that are at these meetings, the staff members, they don't get overtime, they don't get comp time. So they're expected to be here from 7:30 in the morning. And you all, we've gone to 10, 11 o'clock at night. That makes a very long day. And then the next day, whatever time that employee starts, they are expected to be at their duty station all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And to provide that good customer service is very taxing on employees. And our greatest asset is our employees. We know that our average age here of our population is 68.6. We're the second oldest population in North Carolina. Many of our folks are retirees. We YouTube it. We YouTube our meetings. And we know that to light the building, to heat and air condition. So I'm sure that we're figuring all these into this. But we do want to hear from our public, to hear what they have to say. And we're probably going to make 50% happy and 50% not happy. So I commend you for bringing this forward to us to protect the freshness of our employees and to look at the lighting and the electricity of our building.
Could I?
Go through first before it comes back around.
Yeah, Ms. Batchelor,
Is
Go
that
ahead.
okay? Like, that's kind of procedure. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I agree, Ken. Thank you for bringing this up from the employees. I've heard a lot, people wish meetings were earlier due to our meetings going so late. I mean, it's typical we're here till 10:30 after a meeting. And some people, you know, there's pros and cons with that. I also think the cost associated, some employees are paid overtime, some are, you know, receive comp time, so there is a time there just making for a long day for everyone. So I think it's definitely something we can look at. I also do feel, I spoke about this earlier today in private, that I feel like when our agenda comes out, whenever it was noticed to the public, it did have in there a little blurb about the time change, but it was, you know, a little blurb. And I feel like moving forward, Ken, on these, when it here on our agenda where it said council regular meeting schedule, it didn't give any detail on that. I feel like detail needs to always be provided to residents so they can know what we're talking about. So there's really not a question. Sometimes things can come up in the midst of us discussing things that get added or changed around in discussion, but I feel like we need to always make sure that this meeting for this week was a little crazy with things happening so quickly, but I think we need to all collectively make sure that the residents and the public know what it is we're talking about in as much detail provided as possible, so that when you look at the agenda, I know when as a resident, I look at the agenda to see the detail and the staff reports and more information. I think that's something that we can just make sure going forward that we do for any agenda item. And I'm definitely for us moving it to our March meeting to discuss, and that way we also have a public forum comment time during the day as well as our regular scheduled March meeting.
You know, we see some new faces here that haven't been in meetings. Does that mean that they have the opportunity now to attend? Again, we're going to make 50% happy and 50% unhappy with if whatever we do.
Yeah. I agree with what y'all are saying. I'd like to table this. I'd like to hear what the public has to say about it.
All right, before you table, I'm gonna let Mike go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at this many different ways, and I agree. We have the issue where senior citizens driving later at night is an issue. We also have an issue where we have people who really, really, believe it or not, work here.
We do.
Yeah, and they don't have the option of being on a computer watching us while they're working. Most of them probably will not be at a desk job, although there are some, but a lot of them are not going to be able to sit and watch. If we're looking at issues on how to, let's look at it a couple of other ways. We're talking about moving the time maybe from 2 o'clock, from 7 more at night till 2. Okay, and then we have the issue of maybe we just keep it at 7. But there's an issue of between the two. I mean, if we start the meetings earlier than 7, most of the meetings, except for those extremely long ones, are done within a couple of hours when it is still daylight in most of the months. So I think we got to look at it at 3 different issues before we make a judgment call. And yes, I think March meeting would be a good time to open it up.
Again, I've heard consensus. I think I've pretty much heard that from y'all. Of being maybe tabling this and coming back in March.
Yep.
So if this is
Okay.
what y'all looking at.
Yep.
It's
I
good.
have one more comment.
Go, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I also feel like that the fact that we now have the earlier public comment forum the week before the meeting, as well as we have a portal where residents can put in their thoughts and concerns on anything or an agenda item. And we are reviewing those. I want to thank everybody that's taken the time to submit those, whether it be our portal, our budget, land use plan, all of those. People are going out there using technology to let us know your thoughts. I want to thank you for taking the time to do that. But with that, I do feel like we've opened up additional avenues for the residents to communicate with us and share their concerns, their thoughts, their suggestions. So I feel like some people do not feel as much of a need to have to show up at the meeting to actually speak at the meeting as maybe they did in the past. We still welcome all avenues of communicating with us, but we have seen a huge increase in the portal that was created in receiving feedback from residents. So that's something else I feel like, with technology, you may be at work. Let's say if you are at work during the meeting, or you have an engagement in the evening and you can't make the meeting on a Monday evening, you have the option to also watch it online. They're all recorded. You can watch it online at any time. They're out there. You also can watch it at 1.5 speed, so you can go through it faster, or you can skip through certain parts if you want to. There's lots of technology out there, if you haven't checked that out, to be able to actually see what we're talking about and what we're saying at the meetings.
Thank you. All right, this one's tabled, so now we're moving on. Service agreement with Coastal Protection Engineering Phase 2 Jinx Creek Realignment Project.
Mr. Mayor, this is for consideration of approving CPE to go into phase 2. Now that we have the amendment to the MOA signed between the Palm Cove Owners Association and the town, phase 2 of this program would be for biological monitoring, with the total cost of these services of $341,527. And it talks about task 3 at an additional $17,400 only if needed by the final design. And these funds are all payable by the HOA per the agreement.
Any comments from council on this one?
I just had one. How do we know if we're going to have to go into this task 3? Do we know what the process would be for that?
Unfortunately, I do not. I'd have to ask CPE for that.
Okay.
Our finance director, Tara Nichols, is in the audience. The money is in the escrow account to cover this.
So the process for that is, if you approve to move forward with the next phase, then we let them know that you're moving forward, and they deposit that into at 125% from into the escrow. So the escrow is basically deposited into by phases, but CPE will not get the contract until the money is in the escrow.
Thank you for explaining that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I would
Let's
just
vote.
like to say, I know Katie and I had some detailed meetings with Ken and CPE and the Palm Cove HOA representative, Lewis, and we went through a lot of this and got up to speed on everything that's going on. And there was a case in the previous where the town had not yet billed for phase 1 for the dollars. Upon being billed that, they immediately paid that. So that's kind of what we were looking at to move forward, to make sure we had fully wrapped up phase 1 before moving into phase 2, and make sure there were no issues, no concerns. And like in the previous MOA, we needed to look at the project management role to make sure that was clearly defined and that is covered, so that we do everything for the agreement that was previously in place with Palm Cove HOA to make sure what was agreed upon could be successful for them if they are granted the funds moving forward. So that's kind of why we were looking at that. As was stated, Palm Cove will fully be paying for this, and then if grant money comes about, it'll be reimbursed back that way. We have had some concerns regarding dredging spools and how that will be handled. And some of that will be determined later on in the process if awarded. So just to let you know, we're aware of that, and we'll see where this goes.
Do I have a motion? What's the pleasure of
Make a
council?
motion to approve the agreement.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, next up, closed session pursuant to 143, 318, 11A6 to consider the qualifications, competence. Yes.
No,
It's a special meeting, so we don't have any public comment time or anything. But when we go to this one, you're welcome to speak to us as we go. Closed session pursuant to 143, 318, 11A6 to consider qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee, or to hear or investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against an individual public officer or employee. Do I have a motion to go in closed session?
I make a motion, we go into closed session.
Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to come out of closed session?
I'll make a motion to come out of closed session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There's nothing coming out of closed session to report at this time. There's nothing else. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make
to
a
adjourn.
motion to close the meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.